Very good afternoon to you. Welcome to TV47 at 1. My name is Wakio Mzenge. We begin with the protests that were happening earlier on today. The Kenya Revenue Authority says the revised 3.2 million customs benchmark for a consolidated 40-foot container is not a flat tax imposed on every shipment. KRA says the figure is a minimum reference point used in assessing consolidated cargo, with importers still required to declare the actual value of their goods and pay the applicable customs duties. KRA says the adjustment from 2.5 million shillings to 3.2 million is intended to curb under-declaration, misclassification and undervaluation of imported goods, which the authority says create unfair competition for compliant businesses and cause revenue losses. It maintains that cargo consolidated remains legitimate for small traders and says those who disagree with the benchmark can have their cargo physically verified and assessed based on the actual goods.
Based on our analysis on these commonly imported items by consolidators, the minimum we expect, like the baseline, is the 3.2. It is not a new tax because taxes are set by legislators. KRA's role is to implement the law. However, we need to ensure that the right values are declared, the right items are declared, and the right taxes are paid. So the 3.2 is basically, as commonly known as benchmark. It's a facilitative, baseline for small-scale traders and consolidators. Thank you.
So for this amount, would you agree that the traders as well as the
Yeah. Thank you. So, to arrive at the 3.2, we did an analysis. We invited the traders, the consolidators. We have had several engagements and agreed on this amount. We even further went ahead and agreed on an implementation date. We gave them 30 days, a full month, to just align themselves and arrange themselves in terms of the cargo that was on the high seas coming, what they needed to clear, and agreed that 21st August was the implementation date of the 3.2. But it's important to just clarify again, 3.2 is not a fixed tax. Customs valuation is based on transaction value as per the World Trade Organization guidelines. Transaction value is the actual value of the goods imported, the actual tax. So the taxes is basically based on the actual items, actual classifications, actual value. So as I said before, for some cases, for some items, the taxes would even be lower. For some items, the taxes would be way higher. Yes. We even have minutes where we basically sat, agreed, and even agreed on a date. Yes. No. We've actually had several meetings. And the final meeting that agreed on this 3.2 was minuted. We had physical representations that cuts across different associations. Small-scale traders were represented. We had the Clearing Agents Association, Easily Business Community. We had a variety of representatives from the different stakeholders. So it was agreed on.
That was KRA giving their response. Meanwhile, the small-scale traders in Nairobi's Central Business District today staged demonstrations against the Kenya Revenue Authority's revised customs valuation benchmark, forcing partial closure of businesses and disrupting activity in the city center. Traders from Kamkunji, Gikomba and Nyamakima marched towards Times Tower, with police firing tear gas as protests intensified along sections of the CBD. At the heart of the dispute is the increase in the minimum customs benchmark for a 40-foot container of consolidated general cargo, raised from 2.5 million Kenya shillings to 3.2 million Kenya shillings. The traders argue that the 700,000 shilling adjustment will escalate import costs, erode profit margins and eventually burden consumers with higher prices. KRA has defended the policy, saying the revision is meant to curb undervaluation, underdeclaration and revenue leakages.
Habari zenu nyote. Tuko hapa na kupandishwa kwa kodi. Zile zimepandishwa juu sana, na katika harakati zetu tumekubana na askari na vizuizi, ile hatujajua kwa nini tumefanywa hivyo, na tulikuwa na barua ya kuuliza maandamano, a peaceful demonstration, lakini wameamua kutupiga tear gas, wameamua kutufukuza, na wameamua hatutafanya na hatutajielezea. Lakini bado tutaendelea na kutoa sauti yetu, na tutaendelea kusema sisi ni wa Kenya, na Kenya na watu wanaishi Kenya, wenye Kenya lazima waongee na sauti moja, na sauti yao ni kuwa na maisha mzuri, kuwa na haki ya maisha, kuwa na haki ya biashara, kuwa na haki ya watoto wao, kuwa na haki ya masomo. Nataka niulize, leo tumetokea kwa sababu ile malalamishi tuko nayo ilikuwa tunalipa container ya consolidation 2.5. Wameamua asubuhi moja si 2.5 ni 3.5. Tukaenda kwao tukalalamika, wakasema itafanywa 3.2. Kutoka hapo tumeandika barua after barua, lakini hakuna kitu wanasikia ama hakuna kitu wanasema. Hiyo kitu ingine tumeongeresha kupitia kwa place breathing, na hawajasikia na hawataki kusikia. Sasa maneno yetu ni hii, tuko hapa na hatutabanduka, tutaendelea na kung'ang'ana. Leo wametufukuza, lakini Ijumaa next Friday tutakuwa tu hapa kwa barabara, kwa sababu ni lazima tuishi kama Kenya ni yetu, na ni lazima tuishi kama wenye Kenya, na wale wanatuongoza tumewapatia hiyo mamlaka, watuongoze na watuongoze kwa njia mzuri, watuongoze kwa njia inaeleweka. Lakini
away from that, a total of 15,800 lenacapavir, the long-lasting HIV prevention injection doses, have been administered in 15 Phase 1 counties, with the Ministry of Health reporting strong demand and rapid uptake observed across implementation sites. Phase 1 of the program covered Busia, Homa Bay, Kajiado, Kakamega, Kiambu, Kilifi, Kisii, Kisumu, Machakos, Migori, Mombasa, Nairobi, Nakuru, Siaya and Uasin Gishu counties. As the program approaches the 6-month mark for clients who initiated lenacapavir, KEMSA is distributing 4,600 continuation doses for clients who received their first len dose in March and April 2026 and are due for continuation dosing in August and September while on follow-up. NASCOP, however, warns that these continuation doses should not be used for new initiations. Counties with increased mother-to-child HIV transmission rates like Wajir, Samburu, Garissa, Marsabit, Tana River and Kwale will be prioritized in Phase 2 rollout of lenacapavir. Business came to a halt today at Sirisia Trading Center after residents staged protests against the Deputy County Commissioner. The demonstrators accused the officer of failing to deliver basic administrative services and engaging in alleged corrupt practices. Traders were forced to shut down their shops as protesters barricaded the La Wahwahwa Sirisia Road, chanting and carrying placards while demanding I beg your pardon, that road, chanting and carrying placards while demanding immediate intervention from the County Commissioner and the Ministry of Interior. The residents are now calling on Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen and Bungoma County Commissioner Thomas Sankei to transfer the officer and audit operations at the Sirisia DCC's office. Anti-riot police were deployed to restore order after tensions escalated.
Vijana wakienda kwa ofisi ya vitambulisho, wakipitia kwa ofisi ya DCC hapa, anasema lazima watoe shilingi 3,000. Na ndio tumesema vijana wetu wengi wamekosa kwenda university kwa sababu hawana vitambulisho. Tumesema tumepea waziri Murkomen, tumepea regional commander, tumepea county commander commission. DCC Wasirisha amepewa 42 hours. Lakini wananchi wamesema 42 hours ni mingi, wamempea siku ya leo. Kama hawezi enda, tunaambatana kila siku. Aende asiende. Aende asiende. DCC Wasirisha kabla andike assistant chief ama chief lazima aitishe hongo. Kama si 1,500, 1,600. Wamama wetu, vijana wetu hawapewi nafasi.
Watu wote ambao wanahusika na hii kazi, akiwemo kama ni OCS, OCPD ama nani, kama wananchi wametaka waende. Waende wasiende. Waende wasiende.
Mimi ni Mkenya, niko na kahawa na ninashikwa. Na OCS wanataka 50,000 kwenda juu. Sasa sisi tunataka DC saa hii ahame. Maundiari kwani inachukua wiki 2 vitambulisho imekuja. Lakini hapa Sirisha kuanzia mwaka jana watoto hawajapata vitambulisho. Na Helebuloni watoto wameenda university wanataka Helebuloni na hawana vitambulisho.
Mzee yangu akapatiana 55,000. Hiyo pesa ilienda wapi? Kahawa walichukua. Mwenye mlichukua, mlipeleka wapi? Badala ya kuchukua, mpatie tena, mkaenda mkauza.
Hao maafisa Wasirisha wote waweze kubadilishwa na bwana DC huyu. Tunaomba bwana Ruto, president wa taifa hili, huyu DC Wasirisha aweze kuenda kwa sababu analeta ufisadi.
Meanwhile, public service leaders, among them principal secretaries, are currently in Kiharu constituency, Murang'a County for Huduma Mashinani Forum, aimed at engaging directly with residents and assessing the progress of government programs and development initiatives. Led by Deputy Head of Public Service Amos Gadesha, the leaders have championed and underscored the achievements of the Kenya Kwanza administration, noting that the government has continued to fulfill its development promises to Kenyans. They have highlighted various programs and projects being implemented across the country, saying the administration remains committed to improving the lives of citizens through effective service delivery and development. The leaders further assured Kenyans that the government will continue taking services closer to the people through similar Huduma Mashinani forums across the country, adding that the focus should now shift from politics to the implementation and accomplishment of development projects.
Brought Huduma Center services, and they're offering several services ranging from police good conduct to issues to do with IDs, issues to do with SHA, and many other issues. So the main idea is to come as senior civil servants from Mount Kenya region to come and talk to our people about government development that has been happening.
We are here to remind our people of the promises that the government gave them when we came during the campaign. And you can confirm here in Murang'a County, we do have quite a number of roads that have been done. The Mau Mau Road and so many other kilometers that goes to the sub-counties headquarters and to the interiors. Here we do engage in farming. Our coffee prices have gone up.
All these interventions is because this administration is working for the entire region. The president has committed to support everybody in this country in all the development projects that he's putting up.
We're going for a short break right now, pay some bills, but don't go too far. We'll be right back with more. Welcome back. This is TV47 at 1. More than 10,000 rice farmers in the Mwea irrigation scheme, Kirinyaga County, are complaining of being locked out of the government's subsidized fertilizer program since 2022. Yet the program was meant to cut production costs. The farmers say they have been forced to buy fertilizer at more than 3 times the subsidized price.
When the government introduced the fertilizer subsidy program, the aim was to cut costs for farmers and boost production. The price of a 50 kg bag, which had risen to more than 6,000 shillings, was cut to 2,000 shillings. But for rice farmers in Mwea Kirinyaga County, that promise of affordable fertilizer has remained out of reach. They say instead of buying a bag for 2,000 shillings, they've been forced to pay more than 6,000 shillings for a 50 kg bag.
Fertilizer hii ya 2,500 hatukusaidika nayo. Hiyo ndio shida tuko nayo, kwa sababu tunaomba kama hiyo fertilizer inaweza kuja huku Mwea Kirinyaga, tunaweza saidika sana.
The high cost of fertilizer has forced some farmers to scale down the land they used to cultivate or use less fertilizers.
Kwa miaka 2 mtawaliwa, mwaka huu na mwaka jana, hatukupatia hiyo fertilizer. Wakati tulienda tuliambiwa ati watu wote wanatakiwa waingie katika KMs ili tuwe tunawanunulia fertilizer.
The burden is even heavier since they need large quantities of fertilizers during planting and top dressing. Their cooperative says it has been forced to pursue the fertilizer but with little success.
Kile wanafanya wao wanaleta mchere yao kwa society ili society iwapange vile watalima ingine. Hakuwa na pesa ya kununua fertilizer, society ndio inawanunulia.
For the farmers in Mwea, the issue is no longer just about the price of fertilizer, but whether the subsidy will actually reach those who need it, so that rice farming can remain a source of income rather than a losing venture. Edgar Mulindo, TV47.
Thank you, Edgar Mulindo. Now, global leaders at the Voice of Africa Leadership Summit in Nairobi are calling for urgent reforms to accelerate women into top executive roles, describing it as a strategic necessity for Africa's transformation. While data shows a steady progress with women holding between 24% and 28% of parliamentary seats and 25% of corporate board positions across the continent, delegates warn that a systemic gap remains at the highest levels of command. They emphasize that moving women beyond token representation into core executive seats is crucial to driving measurable improvements in governance and commercial performance. Stakeholders urged African governments and corporations to implement bold policy overhauls that actively transition qualified women from oversight positions into decisive leadership roles. The summit concluded with a unified mandate to dismantle invisible barriers blocking women from ultimate decision-making, arguing that opening these command positions will unlock innovative governance and solutions to modern economic challenges.
The significance of today's event is giving other people their voices, allowing them, giving them permission, to get their voices into conversations that are meaningful, and that contributes to the transformation of Africa as a continent.
It makes every one of us different. It's actually what unifies us as a community, as a nation, and as a continent. Our differences, it's what brings us all together. When we bring all of this to the table and we try to work together, it actually unifies us and helps us to get further to where we desire to go.
I think it's amazing that women are stepping out of their comfort zone and just growing in their domain, and in everything that we do, we are excellent.
What the women have achieved in this season, in this era, is great magnitude that needs to be benchmarked, that needs to be shared and motivate and build and mentor upcoming leaders.
And the Nairobi City County Government and the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, KNCCI, have partnered to cut red tape, reduce the cost of doing business, and unlock new opportunities for enterprises across the city. Unveiled on Friday under the Jenga Bees Jenga Nairobi initiative, the partnership will support MSMEs, artisans and manufacturers through streamlined licensing, reduced compliance burdens and improved access to markets and capital. The county and private sector will also collaborate to turn business policy discussions into practical action, with a trade fair digital portal launched to simplify exhibitor registration, sponsorship and logistics.
We are planning with KNCCI as a county government a business breakfast forum which is themed Jenga Bees Jenga Nairobi, partnering for a thriving Nairobi economy. It is designed as an action-oriented public-private dialogue. As you can see, we have the Nairobi chapter of KNCCI and us as the Nairobi City County government sector responsible for business.
So on the 17th of September, we invite all Nairobians, traders, artisans, even the smallest of business person to come to Safari Park, where we have the breakfast. We are bringing anyone and everyone who makes decisions within the county in one room so that Kenyans can be heard. Our mode of working is to bring collaborations and talking where people can talk to each other.
And Kenya is actively lobbying for the passage of the East African Community Single-Use Plastics Bill, currently before the Arusha-based Parliament. This is according to an official from the Ministry of Environment. If the bill passes, it will increase efforts to enforce Kenya's ban on plastic bags, which took effect on the 20th of August 2017. And as Stanley Nyarikita reports, environmental groups have recommended to the Ministry of Environment and NEMA to seal smuggling loopholes that allow single-use illegal plastics to flood local markets.
On the 28th of August 2017, the Kenyan government imposed a ban on single-use plastic carry bags, a historic milestone for the country that received global applause. 9 years later, enforcement of the ban remains elusive. A spot check in Nairobi CBD shows traders openly using single-use plastic bags, contravening the law that prohibits their use, manufacture and importation. This comes as the State Department for Environment and Climate Change faults porous borders and illegal imports of plastic bags for the elusive enforcement. Some East African countries do not have regulations limiting the use of single-use plastics, but the ministry says this is set to change.
Through the East African community, there is a bill in the East African legislative in Arusha on having a unified ban on single-use plastics. And we believe that will help to solve the problem that we are having here in Kenya.
However, environmental groups decry the fact that some alternatives to the banned plastic carry bags have also been non-environmentally friendly. The groups are now urging the Ministry of Environment and NEMA to implement a legal reuse and refill framework.
The truth is we cannot recycle ourselves out of this process, out of this pollution. If that was true, then we would not be seeing all that plastic pollution across or in dump sites such as Dandora and others.
The next challenge is to build upon the foundation and move decisively towards a culture and economy where where products are designed to be reused, refilled, repaired, and responsibly managed.
There are different categories of plastic, and we sell it in the different prices. So in Kenya, we have a corruption when it comes to the fair wages, whereby there is no any standing of the plastic prices.
After receiving the policy recommendations from the groups, the Ministry of Environment is now expected to begin rolling them out gradually across the country. Stanley Nyarikita, TV47.
From matters environment, now let's get sporty. The national women's volleyball team, Malkia Strikers, progressed into the last 16 of the African Nations Championship being held in Nairobi. The defending champions top Pool A with a 100% record following their second win on Thursday night. Coach Geoffrey Omondi and his squad thrashed Mali in 3 straight sets of 25-17, 25-10 and 25-18 at Kasarani Indo Arena. At the same time, Cameroon, who are in Pool C, also booked their place in the knockout stage after defeating Nigeria in 3-0 at the same venue. In other results, Ghana, who are in Group C, were forced to dig deep for their 3-2 win over Tunisia at Ulinzi Complex, while in Group B, Senegal made easy work of Burkina Faso with a 3-0 scoreline at Kasarani. Teams now take a break today before matches resume on Saturday. The winner of this tournament will book their place in the Los Angeles 2028 Olympics, while the top 3 teams will play in the World Championships.
I normally don't have a first 6. That is what most people are used to. I have a starting 6. Depending on the situation ahead, depending on the opponent's game, how we have read their game, we normally plan our team depending on what we have read from the opponent. So people are likely to see very different combinations from the one we have seen the other day and today.
Going forward, the higher you go, the tougher it becomes. That is it in volleyball. So I feel like the teams that you're going to meet are teams that are ready for it, like teams that are qualified for it. So I can just say we're just going to put our best foot in front so that as we go on, it will be smooth on our side.
Kenya topping Group A with 2 wins is definitely a good way to end this bulletin. I'm Wakio Mzenge and I'll see you at 4 p.m.